and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is At the Helm Sports. I'm your host, Derek Helm. Thank you for joining me for episode 184. Please be sure to follow and subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leave those 5-star reviews. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Down in the comments section, let me know, what do you think the winning score is going to be for the U.S. Open? Because probably going to be some carnage, but that's what we're going to be discussing today. And I got a guest to join me. We have host of the Stephie Smalls show, Steph Smalls. How we doing, Steph?
I'm doing good. How are you? I can't believe it's already another major championship.
Yeah, crazy. We only got one left after this. It's going quick. We're heading to the home stretch already.
Yeah, absolutely flying. It's crazy.
Yeah, football's right around the corner too. I mean, it's exciting, but we're here for another major. I mean, the U.S. Open. It's hard. I saw you posted. You know, what's your favorite majors?
Yeah.
It starts with the Masters for me, just because it's, first one of the year. It's got the luster of Augusta and all that.
Yeah.
And then honestly, I mean, PGA Championship is probably last for everybody.
Yeah, I know.
But it's still a major. It's exciting. And for me, it's kind of a toss-up between the U.S. Open and the Open. Like, I love the U.S. Open, especially for what it is and how challenging it is for these guys. But the Open, there's just something about, waking up early and practically in the middle of the night. And
I know. There is something about that coverage. Yeah. It's so you get like minimal sleep. It's fantastic. Like there's nothing better than it. But even with the US Open, it's like, depending on where it is, like at an Oakmont, it's gonna be a blast.
Oh yeah. I mean, these guys are so pampered. I just can't wait to see not just Rahm and Hatton, but everybody throwing temper tantrums.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be temper tantrums going off everywhere.
Yep. So quickly, I mean, we're here for the U.S. Open, but we can quickly recap the Canadian Open. It was heartbreak. I was on Burns. I know you were too. I wasn't going to hedge. I didn't bet Fox, but I was like, you know what? We might as well just make it so we have a little profit this week. I ended up hedging, but I was super confident that Burns was going to come away with it. And then he just didn't. He had several opportunities in that playoff, and it was just brutal.
It was so brutal. I ended up hedging a little bit too, which is very unlike me. But gosh, that first putt, when his putter made contact with the ball and it jumped, I was like, this is going to be a long afternoon because what is going on? It was very frustrating.
Yeah, and then they changed the hole placement, and he hits what looks like a great shot when it hit the green, and then almost goes to the water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I thought it was going in. I was like, "This is it. It's done now. That's it." That was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, and then he just pushed it another hole just to.
And then he could have sent it again, and then he missed the putt, which is crazy because it's also very much unlike him.
Yep. And then that shot by Fox, that was just. I mean, he threw a dart from that far out there. That was incredible. He definitely deserved to win it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he's he's easy to root for. So I was happy for him, obviously. He stresses me out. As someone that is like, pace of play, even like when I play myself, I cannot play with people that do not play fast. But sometimes with him, I'm like, you can slow down like 1 second. He stresses me out because I think he could have beat Burns had he like taken like a deep breath just before a couple of those shots.
Oh yeah, on the first playoff hole, or was it the second one? He pulls out the 5 wood and doesn't even take a practice swing. He just,
oh my gosh, I was like, chill out.
Yeah, but good for him. Second win this year, and I mean he's playing really good golf. I had an okay week overall. I mean, DraftKings was good, was profitable again, but Shane Lowry and Taylor killed me, falling apart at the end. Had top 10 on Shane, had a top 20 on Taylor. He hit that, but it was yesterday sucked, even though I made money.
It was painful. And you thought, like, I thought we had it. And then like after the first, and it just kept getting worse. No one wanted to win.
Yep. Yeah, basically that's exactly what it was. But we're here to talk about a major. So we got the US Open this week, and from the looks of it, it's going to be carnage. They're setting this up. It's traditionally one of the most difficult US Open venues and courses in the world, period. And obviously we've seen the rough and talking about 5-inch rough. Now, did you see the video of them cutting the grass today?
I don't think so.
I mean, it actually looks like AI. There's like 30 guys with walk behind lawnmowers cutting. It doesn't look real to me. Like, why
I
would
saw
you
them on
have?
the greens with like those tiny like clippers, and there was like 4 guys, and the whole thing is crazy.
Yeah, no, this was literally guys walking in front of each other in a line with walk behind mowers. It's got to be AI, because why would
It's
you
got to
mow
be
the
AI. They're
why would you
figuring
mow the
something
grass
out.
that way?
Yeah.
So, but anyways, it's going to be deep rough. It's going to be penal. Been
Yeah.
tons of rain. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays. But quickly, we can go through the course and then
Yeah.
kind of go through how we think it's going to play and how
Mhm.
guys are going to attack this. So we have Oakmont Country Club, 7,372-yard par 70. Now, it is POA greens, not your typical POA that you see on the West Coast. So just keep that in mind. 168 bunkers on the course, no water, no trees. There are some ditches that run along some holes, really deep native grass in those. There's 2 par 5s, 4 par 3s, 12 par 4s. Both the par 5s are long, over 600 yards. The par 3s are pretty long also, shortest being 183. And then obviously we have that long one that plays 288 yards. That's going to be insane. I saw Colin Morikawa hit his driver today in the practice round on that one. So it's going to be interesting to see how guys play that hole. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
288 yards for a par 3 is beyond ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then we have average distance of the par 4s, 435 yards, 5 of them from 450 to 500. The par 4s play as the 5 most difficult holes on the course. Definitely going to I think this is going to be a lot of off the tee and putting, probably. I mean, these are a little bit wider than average fairways, but not easy to hit. And as we said, with this rough, you are gonna have to be hitting fairways here. I do think that distance plays an advantage here, because obviously if you're hitting it further and you're hitting out of the rough, you have a shorter iron in, or possibly a wedge on some holes. But I don't think it's just a bomber's paradise. I think some of the shorter hitters are actually going to play well here. And we saw it back when DJ won. Is if you can be accurate off the tee and hit out of these fairways, it is a huge advantage. So are you trying to focus more on bombers, or do you like some of the shorter hitter guys too?
No, I think like you said it best. Really, accuracy is just going to be like the distinct advantage here, 100%. The distance is nice if you could do both. If you could do both, you have the distance and the accuracy, even better. You want to hit fairways here. That's going to be that. You really cannot get bailed. You can get bailed out one way or the other that we see at some of these other courses where you can hit it towards the left, the right, and kind of avoid some of it. It's just not going to happen that way. It's a little bit hard for me to get behind any of these not accurate guys off the tee, but the cost of errors is going to be really large off. If you're not hitting these fairways.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about guys throwing temper tantrums. I think one of the things we could see here is it doesn't matter if you miss the fairway by a foot or by 20 yards, because
Yeah.
and that's fun, but in some instances you don't want to see guys penalized for bad shots either. And that is a possibility on these approach shots, because these greens are going to be treacherous. I mean, they are
Yeah.
lightning fast. Obviously they put in the sub air system with the restoration or renovation back in 2023. So we're going to see some of the quickest greens we've seen all year. I mean, they have a lot of run up areas. So, maybe hitting a low stinger and trying to run balls up might actually be a better approach on some of these holes, because if these greens are really firm, it's going to be hard to stick the greens too. So then you're dealing with chipping out of this deep rough. You're dealing with these greenside bunkers. So it's going to be a test basically of these guys' entire game.
It's gonna be a lot of too, like this, we talk about creativity, and how you can adjust to these courses. Like you're gonna have to get creative from some of these pretty uneven lies, because even the best golfers here are going to find themselves in not the best situation a lot of the times.
Yeah, absolutely. And hitting out of this rough, a lot of times you don't know how the ball's going to even come out. So
No.
they might be expecting an approach shot that they're going to hit the green, and all of a sudden they come up 100 yards short. So we might
Yeah.
see some. It's another spot where, some of these shorter, more accurate guys, if they're really good with their wedges, that could play a
Mhm.
huge part this week as well.
For sure. And you see even the fairways, like last thing on that, like they're very sloped too. Like even the
Yep.
fairway shots are not going to be bread and butter. You know what I mean? So you're still going to be always kind of in a tricky situation. So it's going to take these guys like true full bag tests. Like what are you pulling out and where are you putting yourself to get into the best position?
Yeah, absolutely. And then as far as putting goes,
Yeah.
we see faster greens sometimes even out the playing field. So I do
Mhm.
think that you want some guys that are better putters, but if these greens are that treacherous and it's that difficult for everybody to putt, I
Yeah.
mean, we see it at Augusta every year. It's these greens are so fast and undulating and sloping. Even the best putters can struggle
Yeah.
here. So I think you really, really want to go, like you said, if you can find someone that's long and accurate, that's probably your best bet. But
Yeah.
I think accuracy is definitely going to come into premium here, and then just avoiding three putts and as many blow up holes as possible.
Yeah, 100%. It's gonna be because I think a lot of people like even if you don't watch golf, there's not gonna be a lot of scoring going on here. So it's basically trying to avoid like bogey avoidance is something I looked at this week. It's gonna be trying to avoid those three putts too.
Yep, absolutely. So if we dive into the field, I mean, quickly, I guess we can go through. I've made two outrights so far, and
Okay.
that's basically what I'm going to go with this week because they're pretty short. I went with
Yeah.
Bryson
Hmm.
on the graphic here. I have 14-1. That was actually what I got him at the PGA Championship, so I forgot to update that, but I got him at 9-1. And
Okay.
I think that's a pretty good number. I
Yeah.
mean, obviously now he's out there 750. I saw somewhere. I think 8 was the best number, so I
Yeah.
took it at 9. I,
Yeah.
I wish I got it a little better a couple weeks ago, but I'll take the 9. I think that we said long and straight is going to
Love
play
it.
here. That's absolutely what he does, and he is a great putter. So I love this place. I love this
For
setup for
sure.
him. Obviously, already won 2 U.S. Opens. Obviously, it's hard to go back to back at U.S. Opens, but I think he could do it.
Yeah,
And then
absolutely. I
Ludwig,
actually am on him as well. I'm on both of these guys actually.
love it.
Bryson, I had a future on. If he can get his irons really locked into, it could kind of be over for everyone. I think I talked about creativity. He's another one. He's also someone that can get himself out of that rough. That I kind of trust a little bit more than some of these other guys. So he has an aggressive play style, which is why he's won a US Open. Like it's a Bryson type event.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love Ludwig. I love what I saw
Mhm.
from him last week. I do think that it's a great setup for him. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously wasn't playing well coming into last week, but we've seen him obviously show flashes last week. We've seen
Right.
him show up at majors. He's another
Yep.
guy that's long and straight. He's good at putting on fast greens. So I think that this is a good place for him. And I got him at 35-1. I mean, I
Nice.
saw that number and I immediately did it because I saw him 25 in a lot of other places, 28. So the 35 just stuck out like a sore thumb. And that's going to be my 2-man card going in here.
Yeah, I was a little bit of a coward here. I did take the each way for Ludwig, so I didn't get obviously as nice of a number as you did, but that's just me a little bit afraid of Scotty and getting burned that way. I thought a little bit, sometimes I'll live bet Scotty because I can't get there at the number, obviously, free
Yep.
tourney, but I do like what we've seen from Ludwig and what he's done, especially at, these tougher courses, at the Masters, situations like that. So I think he finally just had two top 20s. He's getting himself into a good spot, and I think it fits him quite well. This is a perfect situation for him. The only other outright I had, and this was a future, I have a Sam Burns 100-1 in my pocket. I don't think he's going to win this event. I felt better about it before I saw last week. I still think he's in really good form. Do I wish that was an each
Yeah,
way?
I don't hate it.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I mean,
I think it's a good course. I think it's a nice fit for him as well.
yeah, and that's the thing is, it's not a major setup, but Innisbrook, he's won there twice.
Yeah.
That's one of the more difficult courses they play every year. So he's good at difficult courses. The putter can bail him out of bogey avoidance. So I don't mind it.
Yeah, he's in good form,
Well,
and I let you know it's especially at the majors. I've found myself betting guys that are in like complete full like good form because if someone is really weak in one area, I get a little nervous betting them going into these type of events.
yeah, it's especially one like this. I mean, this
Yeah,
is not a place where you want to come
right,
and find your
right,
game. It's
right.
not going to work out very
It's
well.
not going to go well.
So if we look at the top of the board here, I mean, you touched on Scotty. Obviously, his number is
Yeah,
unbettable, but he is just the monster that is always lurking. And
yeah,
these are the venues that you worry about him. It's just his management of a golf course, his
yeah.
ability to get out of trouble. He knows when to be aggressive and not to be too aggressive, and just take his medicine. But as we said, if he's just missing a fairway and his playing partner
Mhm.
duck hooks it and is 30 yards off the fairway, and they have the same lie, is he all of a sudden going to become that whiny, bitchy Scotty? I
Yeah,
think that's our only chance.
yeah, 100%. Yeah. The thing with Scotty too that's always so uh concerning is one, like now he's heated up. He kind of had a slow start to the season, and we're seeing Scotty come into this, everyone wants to complain, oh, he's not going to win this. He just needed to put it together a little bit more. And he's
Mm-hmm.
he's the type of golfer who can adjust. Like I always say, like he can make second, like at halftime adjustments, like you see football teams do.
Yeah.
Like, okay, maybe he isn't, you see him, he's top 20, and then all of a sudden you see him, he's T2 because he's able to make adjustments on the fly, where some guys, they crash and they burn when things start going not their way.
Yeah. And especially, well, as my studio falls apart behind me. That's all right. I'm used to the Jets falling apart
I was
anyway.
gonna say it. Maybe it's because I brought up football. Second halftime adjustments.
But yeah, I mean, Scotty, especially with a lead, he once he gets that lead, he does not relinquish
Yeah.
it. So
No.
it's going to be interesting to see how he plays and how because he doesn't come out tremendously out of the gates, but it's
No.
like he just puts together a ho hum round, and then all of a sudden it's Friday and he gets a little closer, and then by
Mhm.
Saturday you're like, okay, Scotty's going to win this thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, all right. So
And when people see him in the rear view, that's when the stress comes on for someone else that's not used to being at the top necessarily. You see Scotty is two
yes,
strokes back from you, and then that's how he's able to kind of, play it, whether he's doing it or not. You're in your own head when you see Scotty coming.
yeah. And then we got Rory. Rory, obviously, if this
Mhm.
was a month ago, probably would have been up there with Scotty, maybe
Yeah.
like 4-1. He probably would have been the second favorite. But
Yeah.
especially after last week, I don't think a lot of people are going to be on him or have confidence in him. I
Yeah.
don't think I could bet him, but I think from a DraftKings standpoint, I'll get into that tomorrow. I am definitely interested there if nobody else wants to play him, because I still think the upside is there, and
Yeah.
maybe the motivation isn't there after winning the Masters, but I, if Rory shows up, this is definitely a venue where his game translates, and he's been great at U.S. Opens.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. I was going to say I'm not really a Rory person in general, so I rarely am betting him, regardless of where he falls in
Same.
my model when I run it. But I do think there is definitely, like, I will have some lineups that have Rory in them, because when everyone jumps off, you still with the talent there, despite how he is playing, despite him maybe being hungover still from the Masters win, like you still, I got to stick him in a couple lineups.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. The upside is definitely still there, and
Mhm.
I mean, we already made the case for Bryson. I don't think we need to go too far in there,
Right.
but I mean, I absolutely, I love him this week. I put a top 5 on him as well.
Love
And
it.
now next we have John Rahm, who I think some people are going to be interested in. If I
Mhm.
wasn't betting Bryson, I'd consider it because he showed some flashes at the PGA. Obviously it's tongue in cheek, but he's always top 10 on live. I mean, I
Mhm.
forget who put that tweet out of,
So
it's
funny.
basically beating all the elderly people in bowling every week. It's pretty true, because what does live matter? But
Competing
he
against
needs to
like
show up
four
in one of these.
people.
Yeah, seriously. And hasn't been able to win one. Yeah, he's come in
Yeah.
top 10, but
Yeah.
I do think that his game could show up here. Obviously, he won a US Open, nowhere near
Yeah.
what this course is going to be. But what are your thoughts on Rahm? Do you think it's worth a bet? I mean, I've seen him as high as 15-1.
I think I'm not gonna bet. I'm gonna keep my card as far as like outrights. I'm probably not gonna touch anything else.
Yep.
I say that now. Ask me again tomorrow if that is the case. But I kind of like Rahm. I think I like Rahm here. We've seen how he performs at courses like this. Like I am definitely drawn to him this week. His last 3 majors, he's had top 15 in all of them. One thing that I like out of him is one, we're seeing the consistency out of him again. And then the other is, we mentioned his tantrums and getting frustrated. When we just saw him, he actually was not getting frustrated. And he seemed like he was just having fun playing golf. And I think if he can stay in good spirits and just play good golf and stay consistent, that's absolutely a great number on Rahm.
Yeah, and I mean, he had a smile on his face a couple times after terrible shots,
shocked.
which that is
shocked.
not him in any way, shape, or form. Then we got Xander. I've bet Xander a couple times just trying to get ahead of it this year at good numbers, and it's just the total game isn't there. Something is missing. Would I be shocked if he came out and won? No, but am I expecting it? No, not at all.
Yeah,
so
he's tough. I think honestly, because we're putting such an emphasis this week on accuracy, on driving, like that hasn't been the best part of his game like lately, and it makes me a little bit nervous. But again, I'm very aware of what he is capable of doing, what his major record is. I bet his top 20 at -110. If he wins, like you said, like if he wins, I'm not going to be shocked here. He might be someone, and I was just talking about this on my show. Maybe he's someone that you live bet, like see how it's going first, and then maybe get in on it. He might be a good matchup bet, maybe in the 3 balls, depending on who he's with. But yeah, I want to get in on Xander. Like I'm with you. I've been betting him, and I think I'm going to just sit this one out, I believe.
Yeah, I agree there. And then obviously you definitely want to bet Colin Morikawa, because who doesn't?
Yeah. No, thank you.
It's crazy though, because I do think, the current state of his game isn't that great.
Yeah.
But I think at his peak, this is a place where his game does translate. If he's living in the fairway, and I mean, I could definitely see it come Sunday, but definitely not going to be able to get there.
Yeah. Like he was 5th in my model, and it's just, I think the books are giving him a little bit too much respect. Like if we start talking 35-1 on Colin, yeah, sure. Maybe I can get there with Colin, but he is just so unbelievably frustrating. It's just not fun for me to be betting on him at all. He's on my season-long fantasy team. I will never buy in on him again, because it's just been frustrating. And he kind of, he'll put together 3 good rounds, and then Sunday he kind of turns into like this mental midget, and he doesn't do anything to try to win. He just tries to stay afloat. And I hate that, because somewhere like this, you're not going to be able to do that on Sunday at Oakmont.
Yeah, absolutely. It reminds me, you said with the books and how they just keep laying this number with him. It reminds me of what they did with Cantlay forever. He wasn't really winning. He was okay, but he was being priced up there with guys that he shouldn't have been, and he's finally fallen back down. But I feel like Morikawa is in the same boat. You need to get a better number to even think about it.
Yeah.
Now, the only one up here that I would even potentially consider is maybe a Justin Thomas, but he just has not been playing well in majors. Obviously has the win this year and has looked better, but just his major record over the past couple of years has not been great. So I can't even really make a case for it.
Yeah, he absolutely crucified me at the last major. So I need to take my hands off for a little bit with him. He's another one. Like he gets in his head, and it kind of turns into a disaster for him. So I'm going to pass. I haven't seen a lot of people on him. So does he find his way into maybe a DFS lineup? Maybe I could see that being something that I end up doing, but as of right now, probably just to stay away.
Yeah. And that's another guy you brought up, live betting. I mean, he's always an option for that. I mean,
right.
As long as he's not +9 through the first day, although at this tournament, who knows, that could be the winning score.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, he's always worth a live look. But anybody else, I mean, we can talk about Koepka is, obviously you're not betting him to win with his current state of the game, but he
No.
used to be the major slayer. Is there any chance that he shows up for this?
I don't, has he shown up for really anything lately is the
No,
problem. Like,
no.
I don't know what, what is there for me to, I guess I don't think I can get there. I don't think he's shown anything as of late that makes me want to bet him. So I think I got to be out. Like all the power to people if they want to go and bet him, but I think you're hanging on to a dream there. Like to make the cut,
Yeah.
sure. I don't know what that number is. Like I could maybe get top 30 depending on what it is, but other than that, I think I'm out on Brooks.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like even in any capacity, like you're probably not getting that great odds because
Feels
he still
icky.
is Brooks. So it's like, I don't know. I don't think it would be worth it.
Yeah.
The only other
Uh,
guy,
go
go ahead.
ahead.
The only other guy I was even considering was Straka,
Yeah.
but I mean, 80 to 1 I saw on him. I saw 60 to 1, and now he's down to 35 in some places. So definitely couldn't get there. I definitely like Ludwig at that number. So I just bet the top 20 on Straka. I think I got it at plus 140.
I think that's a good way to go with him. Like he does a lot of things that you would want for a place like Oakmont. But the thing with Seth is, here's the thing with Seth. I think he's either going to be like top 15 or he's probably missing the cut. Like I don't know how confident I feel that we're going to like see him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's probably where I'm at. I'm sure he's going to be popular this week. Like there's a lot to like
Absolutely.
about what he's doing. He's like pretty underrated with the putter. His accuracy is actually pretty good too. So I think there's a lot to like about him. Bogey avoidance, I think he's top 10. So I understand why people could make the reasoning to bet him outright.
Yeah, and if there was still a 60 lane out there, it might change my mind. But
Yeah.
also, I bet him so many times this year, and it finally paid off with his win.
Yeah.
I'm at plus money right now, so I'll take the top 20 and be on my way there. But
I love it.
Anybody else you want to talk about down the board here a little bit?
I guess
I know
maybe
you
just
bet
picking
Burns.
your brain on it. Even where are you at with Neiman here? Because he's going to be someone that everyone talks about. He just won. He's won 4 out of the 8 that they have. His skill set does set up very nice for Oakmont. But is he going to hit enough fairways?
That is a very good question. Now he does have a lower ball flight, so we talked about being able to run it up there. I mean, obviously had a good showing at the PGA Championship, so it's nice to see him finally show up in a major. And I mean, when you're clicking on all cylinders the way he is, that does translate. So
it is.
I don't know if I would make an outright on him, but I did actually make a wager on him.
I bet him top 10.
Okay. I don't mind that at all. What was the number on that?
It was +2. What was it? Why didn't I write that one down? Let me pull it up. I'm not sure what I got on it. That was an early.
All right. Well, while you're checking that, I actually bet him as the top South American on FanDuel.
Oh, I like that.
So laying a little bit of juice, it's minus 140, but all he has to beat is Grillo, Vegas, and Echeverria. So I was more than willing to lay the juice on that. So that was on
60.
Okay. That's a good number. I like that.
I could see him kind of like climbing again, like we saw finally the top whatever. And then I could see him kind of stay consistent that way, but I can't get there with the outright. Like I think everyone just loves him, which they should, because he's someone I miss on tour very much so. But
yeah, absolutely.
Can't get there.
And that's the funny thing too, is I just, with the whole live thing, there's so many people that just hate on him strictly because of live. But I feel like if he was on the PGA Tour, he'd be so many people's favorite golfer.
But when he won
just gets shit because of live.
Yeah. Love it.
But yeah, I figured, basically that top South American it's similar to a 3-ball. But I mean, obviously you add one more guy into the mix, but you're not really afraid of any of those guys. So minus 140, I thought was a pretty good number. It's similar to, I think it was at the Masters. I had bet Corey Connors at even money to be top Canadian. He stuck out like a sore thumb. He's far and away better than the other guys from his country. So I think that's a pretty good bet.
he rated out really well for me this week, and I just am ignoring it because every time I bet him, he's another one that is so unbelievably annoying to watch play golf. And for me, at least. I know he has a lot of fans and people love the torture of betting him every week. I cannot participate in it in the way that everyone else can.
Yeah. That's very similar to Shane Lowry when he's in the lead on a Sunday.
Yes. I bet Shane Lowry top 10 after round 1 is where I landed for right now with him. He had a top 5 here in 2016. Yeah. He's consistent, and he's going to rate out well for everyone. My problem is Shane Lowry is also consistent, and he is not winning. Like he's coming in top, and it just gets annoying. He's always there round 1. So again, another guy. I like the top 10. It was plus 550. I got it at. So I like him to be in the top 10 there. Yeah.
So really not a ton of other guys here that I'm even considering doing anything else on. What do you think? Can Spieth show up this week in any capacity?
Spieth. I bet him top 20. I bet him, but this is like, I'm not giving out any advice. I'm not advising anyone to do this. This is an auto play for me. I am betting him top 20. I do think there is a world, like he's playing good golf right now. We talk about the creativity. Like he's someone where you turn on the TV and you find Spieth is always in some horrific situation, getting himself out of it. He's going to be in a lot of that probably this year. He's driving the best that he has, honestly, in his career. So I don't know what the top 40 number is, top 30 number. He's a good one to kind of stick into those make the cut parlays as well. But I think he could show up. Is he winning? Unlikely. He's also another one that gets a little emotional on the course, drives some people crazy. I enjoy it. But yeah, I think Spieth could have a good showing.
Yeah, I agree. I could definitely see it. I mean, he's been playing well.
Let's see.
The issue for him has been just the
approach.
blow up holes. He'll all of a sudden he'll have 3 holes in a row where he looks great, and then it's just absolute collapse. So
yeah.
This is a course where it's very easy to do. So I think if he can minimize those, he can definitely play well, because everybody's going to be making mistakes. So if he doesn't string too many holes like that together, I definitely think he could play well here.
Yeah, you look at some of his approach numbers too from those like sweet spots that we're going to see a lot of, and they're not horrible, but they're not great either. So could see him very well being, if he finishes T28, sounds about right to me.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Another one I was looking at was top English. Now, Aaron Rai at plus
I was hoping you would bring him up.
Plus 650. I mean, obviously, you worry about Fleetwood. I think Fleetwood definitely could finish well here. I was even thinking about possibly a top 20 on Fleetwood. Hatton's another one. But then behind him, you got Fitzpatrick. Not really all that worried about him. I like Rai here. He's going to live in the fairway. He tends to play well on difficult courses.
Yeah.
Plus 650. I mean, I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either. And maybe he was 16th in my model. And obviously you're going to see that because when you think accuracy, you think off the tee, you get that. I guess my biggest concern with him, which would just be the putting for the most part. He could really collapse there on those greens. So if he can hold it together, I like it. What did he do at the Memorial? My gosh, he lost 6 strokes. Oh my God. Oh my goodness gracious. But he's had some good showings, and he's another one where you want to talk about accuracy. He obviously is standout there. Bogey avoidance is pretty good. Scrambling is solid. But yeah, he's another one. He's just going to be spiky, but I like that bet. Like that's a nice way to get in on Rai without fully committing to him either.
Yeah. I mean, even his outright, he's only like 100 to 1. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So that brings down the placing markets as well. So I don't really love that, but if basically, like I said, if you're looking at it as a modified 3-ball. Those are really the 2 guys you're worried about, are Hatton and Fleetwood. And I mean, plus 650 is a pretty good number.
Round 1 too. Like he might be a 3-balls guy that you could play with too if you wanted to in the beginning. So that's probably the best way though, like you said, is to play that nationality market there.
Or even first round leader. I haven't looked at what his number is there, but that might be a bet that I make.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then last nationality I was looking at, I'm trying to pull it up and now I can't find it, but was top Korean.
Yes.
And this one is interesting because Ben On's been playing pretty good.
He has.
And I
I
don't
noticed
know.
that. He...
Siwoo's been playing well. He's plus 180. Sungjae has been playing like shit. He's plus 220. Tom Kim has been playing even worse. He's plus 330. You can get Ben Hyun on at plus 360. So,
Oh wow,
it's not bad for only
not
having to
bad at
beat three
all.
guys.
Yeah, no, not at all. I like that quite a bit. I feel like Siwoo never goes in my favor, and um, I think this is a good. Benon is he's another one that's like hit or miss, but
Yeah,
I could see him playing very well here as well.
has some distance. I mean,
Yeah,
he's crafty around the greens, and Siwoo had some flashes, over the past month and a half. But
yeah.
do you really expect him to show up at a U.S. Open?
I was gonna
Probably
say
not.
that's the
So
name of his game is like flashes. Like I'm just gonna call him
yeah,
flashes now.
yep.
Yeah,
So that was another one I was considering.
yeah, I like it quite a bit. One of the guys I'll throw at you here is, and I'm even like doing research and preparing for this week. I kept ignoring this guy, and I think it's just because he's not, he's not one of the sexy household names to the point where I think I didn't even realize how well he's been playing. And it's Harris English. He
Yeah,
is a winner at a difficult course this season. He's someone that is just straight up playing good golf. He stacked 5 top 15s in 6 starts. He was T2 at the PGA Championship, T12 at the Masters. He can flush the damn ball, we know that. And like I guess I'm trying to figure out what doesn't make sense about him at least getting like a top 20 at plus 260, even maybe flirting with an each way for him. Not sure I'll get there, but he's had 3 top 10s at the last 5 US Opens, and
yeah,
2 of those were top 5s.
yep, yeah, and he plays big boy tournaments pretty well. He
Yeah,
plays difficult courses well, and
yeah,
yeah, I really I think especially from a DraftKings standpoint, being as cheap as
yes,
he is, he's going to be very popular, and I could see him
absolutely.
being a popular bet. So I would say if you do want to make even the top 20, I would get on it sooner than later because
Yeah,
that
I think
number
that'll
is probably going to come
mhm,
down a little bit.
for sure,
But I don't mind that.
absolutely.
I don't mind that top 20 at all. That actually might be pretty good.
Yeah, big fan of that. And then there was one other, I haven't bet it yet, but I'm probably going to get some. I say some action. It's not going to be anything crazy. It's going to be like a top 40, maybe to make the cut. I'm not sure what the number is, but Victor Perez popped for me, and he's playing. He's playing solid. His driving accuracy is pretty crazy. He was just T9. He hasn't done anything worth like massively noting beyond last weekend, but good ball speed. I think if he can keep it together, if he makes the cut, like he's going to get a top 40, top 30 situation for me.
Yeah, that's fair. Just
Yeah.
his track record at majors
Yeah.
not really
Not
great,
good. Not
especially the
pretty.
U.S. Open. So
Yeah.
I think for me that would probably be more of a
That's fine.
DraftKings play because
Yeah.
I mean he's sub. Especially if you're playing Scotty lineups, that's
Right.
going to cost a lot of money. He's under $6,000
For
on
sure.
DraftKings.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to play him. So I think if
Oh,
you
yeah.
wanted to
He
roll the
is.
recent form over there, or I would probably just do a make the cut or maybe top 40. I really
Yeah. I
wouldn't
think to
be.
make the cut is probably the way to go instead of getting
Yeah.
as aggressive as
Yep.
I'm talking
And
at
you're
home.
probably still getting an okay number on that too.
Yeah. I think so as well.
All right. Anything else stand out to you or?
I don't think I have anything else really. It was just making the decision here on what I'm going to do with some of these guys. Does Victor Hovland interest you? Did we talk about him?
No, we didn't, but he
Okay.
does interest me.
He
He
interests
was
me
some
too.
yeah, he was someone I was considering. It's just he doesn't even know what's going on right now. So it's
He
hard for us to
hasn't played
predict
a
what he's going to
lot.
do. I do think that this is a place that he could show up and play well. I mean, if he's striking it well, he can literally win any tournament. It's just a matter of what Victor is going to show up. Is it one that has been trying out new shots for the last 2 months, or is it one that is just going to come here and try and play his game and win a golf tournament? So it's hard to know from that standpoint, but I think that is a guy that, you're not really necessarily looking at the placements. Maybe if you wanted to do an each way, that would make a ton of sense. But I think you would want to make an outright on him because his ceiling is U.S. Open champion, and we've seen plenty of guys come and win their first major at the U.S. Open, and
and he's had 6 straight made cut. Again, like I was saying, like he hasn't played that much this year. I think that kind of makes me a little bit nervous. He does have a win, accurate off the tee, the scrambling. We could have a 1-hour conversation about, but his worst finish in those 6 cuts was a T54. Otherwise, he has a win, top 15, and it must be 3 top 5s. I didn't finish my sentence in my notes, but he's played decent.
And the other thing too is, these greens are going to be tough. They're very firm and fast, but if he's going to hit his ceiling outcome, it's when he's hitting greens in regulation. So you're not going to want to rely on the around the green game if you're hoping for him to win. And at the same time, these greens are much larger. So the short game is more so going to be putting and lag putting and 3-putt avoidance than it is around the green. So I don't mind it.
Yeah, I don't think so either. He'll definitely end up I will have some type of action on him. What that looks like, I'm not entirely sure, but something will get on the card.
And that's a guy the opposite of English. I don't think he's going to be extremely popular. So you could get a better number as the week goes on too on him.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so I got you on. We got to ask questions about the Giants, obviously.
Oh boy. Oh God.
It was going so well. Enjoying myself. So first question is, who do you want to start the season at quarterback? And then second is, what are your expectations for the season?
I don't care. No, this is my thing. This is how I think it's going to go. I think Russ is going to start. I think we're going to play the Broncos. I think Russ is going to pretend he got an injury, and then we're going to see Jameis for a couple games, and then we will see Jackson Dart. That is my prediction of how it goes. I am fine with Russ starting. Russ is not my favorite person, but I think the Giants quarterback situation has been so horrific for so long. Even the league does not realize what any remote competence is going to look like. And now we have a Malik Neighbors, which we also didn't even have that type of skill in the room. Are the Giants going to win a lot of games? Absolutely not. Are the Giants going to cover more spreads than people expect? I do think so. I think that the difference is our defense hasn't been as bad as, people probably assume. The issue is when we get back on offense, you can't score points. So now we might sneak into a touchdown or two and maybe stay in some games, maybe do a couple backdoor covers. But I don't think the expectations should be high on the New York Giants, obviously. But I think they'll exceed expectations, which is not saying a lot because those expectations are on the ground.
No, I agree with that sentiment. And I do think that defense is going to be strong. I could see it being a top 10 defense this year, actually. I like what they did in the draft. And, Russ was good with Cortland Sutton. So Neighbors is he's a little bit better than Cortland Sutton. So
exactly. Yeah. And I think it'll be him second year and, actually having some consistency. I don't think they'll rush, they're not going to rush to get Dart in, but I think you might see him. We have a late bye week. Believe it's week 15 or week 14, but I think you do see Dart this season for at least 2 games.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do think the longer they can hold that off, probably 100%. The better.
Which is nice because we haven't been in this situation where it's your backup is Jake Fromm and Mike Glennon. And where do you go from there? You're not even at that point, you're not playing football, or then you have Tommy Cutlets coming. The quarterback rooms have been a joke, and Jameis is very serviceable. He's going to make some stupid mistakes, but he's a more serviceable quarterback than we've seen. So I think Absolutely. For Giants fans, I hope no one has high expectations, but I think the team is in a good direction where I think if Dart pans out and they have one more solid draft, I think the Giants could be starting to go back into a conversation of they're not an easy win anymore.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And then, I
Yeah.
mean, you're talking about competent quarterback play. As a Jet fan, Justin Fields might be the most competent quarterback they've had
Crazy.
in over a decade.
Isn't that crazy? I don't think people realize that too. Like everyone wants to troll and say whatever they want, about like our teams. I don't think they realize what it's like to also just have it complete and utter incompetence. Like it is not even like I watched how many games in a row without a touchdown. Like it's not even funny. It seriously has been so bad.
Yeah. I
think
joke about
I'm
it all the
excited
time.
for Justin. I hope like that. We'll see how the O line looks, but I think even in fantasy, like Garrett Wilson should have a good year. I don't know why people are so low on Brees Hall.
Yeah, I think it's the way that last year ended, but
Yeah.
I don't think that's prescriptive. Obviously, the talent is there, but as far as
Mhm.
Fields and an offensive line goes, even if you gave him an offensive line, he's going to hold on to the ball too long and
That's
get
true.
sacked. So
That's
I
so
don't I
true.
don't think it really matters.
Touche. Honestly, that's so funny. You're so right with that.
And then the other thing I always say is the Jets being terrible has made me so much better at betting in DraftKings. So I do have
Oh,
to thank him for that.
yeah, absolutely. 100%. A hundred
Yeah, we,
percent.
we get we get 3 weeks into the season, and it's like, all right, well, season's over. What do I
Well,
do
that's what I
now?
mean. It's like by the end of week 2, I know I'm just focused. I'm just locked in on longest reception bets. Like that's all I'm doing. The Giants get moved to the little screen by week 4, and then I
Yep.
don't even have them on by week 7. So,
Yeah. And then you got to struggle through if they're on a primetime game. Just I guess I'm gonna watch it.
and I just don't go on Twitter at that point because
Yeah. Yep.
can't take it.
All right. Well, football's right around the corner. We
Yeah.
we got that to look forward to, but very excited for the next major here in the US
That's
Open.
nice.
Greatly appreciate you hopping on and going through it. I think that was pretty fun, and we actually gave some serviceable advice there.
I think so too. It was a blast. Thanks for having me on. I'm glad we were able to make it work.
Of course. Let them know where to find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Stephie or X, whatever you call it these days, at Stephie Smalls with 3 L's across all social media. And then my show, The Stephie Smalls Show on YouTube.
Awesome. Thanks, Steph.
Yep.
So that's going to do it for this week. As always, check out thehelmsports.com. Have my course preview up there now. In the My Bets tab, I will have all the bets up there by Wednesday evening. If you want to get the bets the second that I make them, join the Mad Lab MMA. Hop right in the Discord there. My channel, the second I make them, you get the same number that I get. So get in on that. Obviously, Mad Lab has MMA and boxing on absolute lock. We have every sport covered. We were just talking about NFL. We are always trying to improve the NFL product over there. So check that out as well. But that's going to do it for this week. Very excited for another major. And I love the US Open. So cannot wait. But as always, thank you for listening. Greatly appreciated. I'm your host, Derek Helm. And remember,
Steph on out there.